Hello, everyone. It is Professor Oleander again, and we're back working on the Hell Road. I have done quite a bit since the last time we did something here, and I'm actually waiting on a train to come in. So I figured I would do this. I got done just a few minutes ago working on another video for Wolfpack, which should be out. I don't know if it's going to come out before this one or after, but figured I would. Hopefully that's loud enough for everybody. I figured I would do this one because there was a pretty major update to Railroader. It was actually a week or so ago, and I'll let you listen. Well, did a couple back. Why is that not? Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong one. There we go. That one. There we go. I was wondering why my audio wasn't coming through. I had my headphone turned off. So yeah, they added new audio. So all the chuff sounds from the locomotive, and they're based on off of the reverser. So and that chuffing sound persists after you close the throttle. I think that was another change until the steam chest actually depletes itself. They may go into simulating steam chest and all that. I really don't feel like it's necessary, but that is a possibility. I mean, I could potentially bring up the notes for that patch. Let me just look here, because there's been a couple. I'm trying to remember which one was this one. There's been, okay, so this patch came out on May 18th. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4 patches since that happened. And there were numerous things in the big patch. The overall one was they added the new sounds, and then they added wear and tear. And as you can see, that, I think that was just from spawning back in. As you can see, it's down to 98%. And if you look at equipment, you can see that this engine has 48 miles on it. You see there where it says where my last overhaul was. Overhaul repairs will raise the repair cap to 100% and should be performed every 1,000 service miles. So basically, every repair location can now become an overhaul shop. So you have two classes of repairs. You have standard repair and you have overhaul, and you can repair infinitely. But what happens is, like it says there, the cap gets lower and lower and lower, so you can only go to like 90%, or you can only go to 80% as you accumulate until you overhaul. When you overhaul, it resets it back to 100. Back in the old days, in Steam days, they had different classes of service when an engine would get done. So they would have like a weekly, a 30-day, 90-day, annual, and then they'd have the big overhaul. And I can't remember off the top of my head which ones, specifically which ones were which and what the intervals were, but I know that that's how most railroads were doing it. Some were called an A rebuild, a B rebuild, so on and so forth. So this is the train that I was waiting on. And as you can tell by the lag, it's a biggin. And I'm curious to see. Oh yeah, we're gonna take water. I will say that the water consumption is probably a little on the light side for once they did the rework. To me, it feels like they're not quite using enough, but you know, it's not the end of the world. Was this always here? I don't remember there being another water column there. I think they must have added that one. But yeah, as you can tell, this is a big train. You might have saw it in the very beginning down here. I had this one selected. It's a very big train. This has been pretty much daily for me for the past couple of in-game days. And this train's about to get longer because it's going to pick up all these cars right here because these are going to Whittier. One of the things you may have noticed is I have added these wood cars. This is a mod, and it adds, let me see, it adds 3 cars, I believe. So these were added in the update. They added, I think it's these 3 cars right here. The USRA, the AAR, and the ribbed car. And then the mod that I added put in these 3 cars, these flats. So there's 2 gondolas and then a flat car. One will hold, this one holds 12, and I think this one that one holds 6. This one holds 12. I keep forgetting. I had to rebind that to F because I don't use F for anything. So this is I've sold off all my skeleton cars except for that guy. And I have opted to go with these because they don't take up as much track room, and track real estate is sort of at a premium right now, so that's what we're going to be going with. So let me, oh, by the way, they've changed all this down here too, in case you haven't noticed. So we'll go ahead and change that to manual. We'll set some handbrakes here. As you can see, this is a 3,000-foot train, 6,300 tons. It's not unheard of at this time in Steam to see a train that long. It would be the exception and not the rule. So we're going to pull this one forward, and we're just going to take water right here. The only complaint that I have about the new sound is it needs a little more bass to it. It's not beefy enough. And I've mentioned this on Schnauzer Power's video, that when you're standing beside these things and they're working, even when you're in the cab, especially on a bigger engine, you can't hear. Even if the stack is like way out in front of you, you cannot hear when they're working, because if you think about it, you have a boiler. Yeah, let me look to make sure. I don't remember what the boiler pressure was on these. I want to say it was 200. It might have been 250. I don't think it was 3. But let's just say you have a 300-pound boiler, or 300 psi boiler. That steam is superheated. It's very dry. When it comes out of the nozzle, I mean, it can break the sound barrier, and it cracks. Superheated steam, especially because it's so dry and it's under so much pressure when it exhausts. They crack and they hit, and it will thump your chest whenever they move. So that's really the only thing that I feel like this update's missing, is it needs some thump. So let's see, we'll throw that one. I'll just come up here and reach them with the twins. I don't think there's anything else here that's ready to go, except for this guy. So we'll probably run down there and grab him first. But I needed to water up because we're gonna burn a lot of water. This train, what did I say? That was 6,000 tons. This train will probably end up being closer to 7. Actually, no, take it back. It's probably going to be closer to 8, because I think all of this, yeah, most of these are loaded. Yeah, the majority of this train is loaded. This is going to be about an 8,000 ton train. And I think this is the heaviest one that I have pulled with these two. I won't swear to it, but yeah, that's pretty much how we roll. So let's pull forward and fuel up the next one. It does sound a whole lot better when they start off, though. Okay, we'll fuel him up. And yes, I know I'm saying fuel for water. And I want to check. Let's see. There's nothing in Ella that needs to go. And Whittier's fine. These cars are ready for interchange. Actually, no, these are not. So there's an issue that I have, and it happened with the update because the update added chip cars. The sawmill now supplies chips, so every day it calls for chips. The problem is, I had the mod where it made the sawmill supply them, but the track was like this whole thing. So what's happened is when they did the upgrade or the update, the track shortened. So now I can only put 3 cars over there at a time. Well, I had a backlog of chip cars that needed to be filled. And so it's affected my rating. And if I go and look, I think my rating with the sawmill, yeah, it's been degrading because I've got cars that are behind. I'll eventually get through them. I'm not going to go to tier 5 just yet. I'm going to wait. But yeah, that's kind of sucked. I mean, I could have deleted the cars, but I was like, screw it. We'll just go through with it. We've still got the yard at Whittier. We have gone to Alarka. We haven't... The only expansion we've done down here is the balloon track, and that's part of the mod. The Alina's track mods. And then we've got cars sitting here at the copper mine. And they're being loaded. These are gravity loaded cars. And then we'll go up here to the coal mine, and you can see we've got a long load of cars here that's waiting to go in. There should be enough room there to fit all of those in. And that's actually what these cars are that are sitting back here. These are the coal cars from the mine. And I think our locomotive is all filled up with water. So let's go down and get this car. You notice that Bryson is actually empty. The reason for that is because everything goes on in Whittier. I haven't expanded beyond Alarka, and I'm not going to until we get some things sorted out. And when I mean sorted, I want to get some of this debt paid down. You see, we still owe $109,000, so I want to get some of that gone. But we're sitting pretty good. What did we make? We're about to get our next daily report. We made $7,500 yesterday, and that's actually pretty good because I think my last good day when I had Silva all the way to Bryson, I think it was something like we might have been making 12 grand a day or something like that. I'd have to go back and look. So we're marginally ahead. Well, exponentially ahead. Now I am running some mods where the coal mine actually takes more cars. And I think that in the game that's going to be adjusted anyway. So I don't feel so bad about doing it. We'll just reach back here and grab this car, and then we'll go grab the other string, and then we'll send them on their way. And I think the goal is going to be to get everything pretty well squared away. I want to get some more engines before before we expand anymore. Because one of the things that I'm going to run into is the engines are going to have to be rotated. Which, if you remember last time, the plan that I had for these was one was going to be at the coal mine, one was going to be in Alarka. And I've kind of kept with that, except that I decided, you know, it made more sense to go ahead and double head them and make them road engines. They can still work the mines, but they need to come together and then double head to bring everything back to Whittier. It just works easier that way. That way I don't have to buy another engine strictly dedicated for running stuff back and forth. Because the name of this one is to try to reduce as much spending as we can. How much is in here? 23 tons. And then this guy can wait. He's the one that goes to work up at Walker. He can wait until we get the cars back. So we're still going by the same philosophy where we're alternating Connolly and Walker so that they can replenish themselves. At some point in the near future, because eventually I am going to expand to Silva, I'm going to have to buy some pulpwood cars and stockpile. And then I'll have to have a separate set of engines to run to Silva because it's such a long way. And then you've got the you've got the 1% before Kawi that you have to deal with. And pulpwood trains are pretty heavy. But that's going to be another day. It won't be this time. Alright, there we go. Yeah, 1,500 tons. This is going to put us right at 8. What is the... How many miles have I put on these engines? 240. And they're at 98%. So I think they've got it set now where it's 1% every 100 miles. So that's where our degradations come from. And then, how many's on this one? 171. He's had a couple of rough couplings, though. Alright. This is going to be a fun train getting started. You might have noticed that I've had to turn the graphics down. I think I still got them down because no, they're still on high. The game is still not optimized, so I do still hit some lag. Just from, you know, just from so many entities. If you get a lot of cars on screen, it gets pretty bad. I'm actually surprised it's doing as well as it is now. Although I don't think I'm quite getting 60. I might be getting 40, 45-ish. Yeah. Still don't have the dispatcher. Probably not going to just yet. If I do, it'll be on absolute signals instead of CTC. Just because CTC is, for right now, is a little bit more trouble than it's worth. Unless I can have it on a separate screen so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Which is what I was doing before. It's just easier when I have trains. It'll be later on. I may go ahead and do it and just leave them on absolute, like I said, and still have the hand throws. But I'm not in a hurry for CTC. We're not we don't have enough trains running, honestly, to justify it. If I had road trains running back and forth and then locals, be a different story. But right now, it's not an issue. Maybe when we go to Silva, but right now, just we'll run with what we got. Somebody has made a melee. I saw a video of it a few days ago, and it's a Western Maryland one. Well, I think it was in Western Maryland. I think it was an H8. Is that right? I didn't get a good look at it. I just kind of saw it in passing. I didn't really pay much attention to it. I know that there is a C68 in the works. There's another server that has actually... It was designed by Plague Doctor. He's letting them use it. But that is supposedly about to be... It's either about to be a public mod or it's going to get introduced into the game. It's another consolidation. I am personally waiting for some more articulated, because Southern did have them. Doesn't matter what they are, but in this type of terrain, okay, 7,500 tons, so we're not terrible there. But this type of terrain would be beneficial for an articulated. I'm also waiting for some of the mountains, some of the mountain locomotives. I'm trying to think of another locomotive. I've heard a lot of people say the J, and it's like the J doesn't make any sense here. I mean, you wanting to put an engine that's designed to go over 100 miles an hour on track that's restricted down to like 35. That doesn't make any sense. Through train, maybe, but I don't think... I'm trying to think. I mean, Southern had passenger service, but I think they were 280s. They were either 280s or Mikados. They might have been 282s. I'm trying to think. I was looking at the timetable not too terribly long ago. I think that's what they were. It was either 280s, because it specifically says in the timetable what the handling rules were for each one. Oh, I didn't even notice that. We worked out right at 4,000 feet. Okay, so let me see if I got a... He doesn't have to make any more stops. I mean, we could throw those guys home, but they need to be switched out, so I'm not going to worry about them. So this is... We'll call it 7,500 feet, and it's not going to fit in Whittier. I've actually cleared out most of Whittier so that they can come straight in. And I'm actually... I need to schedule a service. The next schedule was serviced at 18:45, so 2 hours from now. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it so that they can pick up, because I got to get all this stuff out of here. So we're going to come down track 1 and lined out. How long does this train look on map? He'll get about half of it in. We'll just set him to stop right there. All right, buddy. God be with you. Does kind of bring back some memories. If the new sounds are better, tweak them a little bit, and I think that'd be perfect. I mean, you listen to it right now. I mean, it's pretty good. All right, that's on his way. And I tell you, those engines, they're absolute workhorses, even for only 55,000 pounds of foot of tractive effort. I mean, they're up to 16. It's a haul, and they're probably going to be on their knees going up to Ella. I think they'll be all right. They haven't stalled yet. I was actually surprised they're doing as much as they have, because this is the biggest train, even from the last railroad, this is the biggest train that they have pulled, that I've tried to pull with them. And I've done calculations on power to weight ratios, because I felt like that was the best way to figure out which is the best engine. Let's go back a little bit. Because I felt like that was the best way to quantify power and what engine to use. These are superior to the Berkshire because it uses so much power just to move itself around. Now, I don't know what the specs are going to be on the C68, so I'm kind of curious to see all of that. But these engines, I mean, they're pretty good. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find my table. I gotta remember where I saved it. It's not there. Nope, yeah, it is. No, that's not it. Different save. I'll just give you the number. I won't try and pull it up because it's going to be too much of a pain in the ass. But let's see here. I think I saved it under railroads. There it is, railroader statistics. Let me just check here to see if I can do this. No, I can't. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, see if I could do this. But anyway, so the power to weight, or is it even here? There's water consumption. Actually, this is not the one that I was looking for. I know I have it here somewhere. I've got so many spreadsheets that I've got labeled as untitled. I need to go in and change them all. But anyway, maybe it's this one. It is this one. So, the most efficient engine in the game, as far as power to weight ratio is concerned, when it's empty, is the A23. Let me just. I'm trying to figure out if I've got a thing. But anyway, the most efficient engines in the game are the diesels, and that's just by design. I mean, that's pretty much the way it is in real life. They're way more efficient than steam locomotives, and they have a power to weight ratio of basically 485 to 1 for both of them. Pretty much, it's right at 500. It's 500 foot-pounds, or it's 500 pounds of tractive effort per pound of locomotive. So they do so much more work. And if I'm looking here at the C55, it has a rating of 257. The Burke has a rating of 157. So you get 200 more or you get 100 more pounds of work per pound out of the C55 than you do with the Berkshire. Now I actually added the Santa Fe, and it's 267, so it's only a little bit better than the C55. Now when the C68 comes out, and that would be the 800 series that was on the Western Maryland. When that one comes out, that one's going to be 65,000. I don't remember the weight. I can actually look it up here. And I am forgetting what class those were. Which I should be ashamed. It's just one of those things. I'm every railroad has a classification system. Has a classification system, and I'm trying to remember how many. Oops. I'm trying to remember how much tractive effort those things had. I don't see it. Well, maybe it is right here. So let's see. That would be... I found it, and I gotta find where the tractive effort is. There we go. Alright. And it's not on this list. Anyway, it would have been... it's 68,000. I'm just looking for weight. But I don't see it here on this list. Really? Yes, I know I'm just being... it's one of those things you gotta understand. When I get something in my head, I can't move on until it's out of it. Let's see. Down here. Anyway, while I'm looking for that, the waiting for more locomotives to come in, which I'm hoping is going to be fairly soon. Oh, they are going to be on their knees, aren't they? Yeah, this is going to be... I think they can do it. Here, you can listen to this while I'm trying to find the figure. I need a weight is what I need. So like I said, if you'd been standing beside that, your teeth would be rattling. Okay, so I found the number I was looking for. It's an H9A. Western Maryland's classification system is weird. Don't ask me. I'm sure there's a method to the madness, but the 800s were H9As. The reason why I said H8 earlier is because 734 was supposed to mimic the H8s. That's why they named it 734, or that's why they numbered it 734. And it was probably closer to an H7B, but that's beside the point. So the H9s, the engine weight was 309. Okay, I'm taking it this is loaded weight. 309,000, and the tender weight loaded was 285. Let me grab my calculator here because I can actually put it into the spreadsheet. And I'll just put it right here. So we'll just put the loaded weight in, which would be, let's see, 309, 154 and a half. And then I'm sorry, it's 154 and a half plus 142. 296. And then the tractive effort was 68,000 and 68,263. And that gives us a power to weight ratio. This is the loaded power to weight ratio. Wait for it. 230. Which would put it... It's actually less than the C55. So 257, and that one would be 230. And that's how the game pretty much looks at it. So... Yes, I know that was kind of boring waiting for me, but you got to hear a train go by, so don't whine about it too much. There's actually not a lot to do on the railroad right now. I just wanted to do this video to kind of, as you can see, I don't have a lot going on other than just some cars that need to be shuffled around here and there. It's basically killing time waiting for this train to get to Ella, and we can listen to it as it comes through Ella because it's going to be flying now that it's on top of the hill. It does have that weird Doppler effect still, and hopefully they can get that fixed in the future. I can hear it distinctly in my headphones. There's this weird kind of, it's almost like an airplane in the distance. And when you double head engines together, they get this weird reverb going. And then when you couple it with the Doppler, it makes it sound like it's in a tunnel. It also doesn't sound good at 7:45. I'm just going to say that because I've had my passenger train go out and it's got a weird little sound to it. It's going to do the thing in my doohickey. All right, where is my passenger train? It is sitting in the station. That is a problem. I've also got that sitting there. You have got to move, sir. I actually forgot that it was sitting here loading. Alright, throw you, and we'll get the train out of the way here. And I've actually added some more passenger cars. So manual, back you up. I don't even remember what whistle that is. Okay, he's ready to swap out, so we can do that while we're sitting here waiting. But you gotta go. I forgot that I had this. This car's got to go to Alarka. Somehow or another, it got left behind when I turn the train around, because it'll deliver the cars that are due for interchange tomorrow. I'll go ahead and get them out of the way. I gotta be careful because this switch is lined against them. I think there's enough room here. There is. Alright, get you out of the way. And while we're waiting on that, we'll get this swapped around. Alright, we gotta pull these two cars out, or that one car out. Let's do that. He's still good. How many miles have I put on this one so far? 56. He's just a little yard engine. He doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, I thought that was lined against me. They still have not made it where you derail going through switches, which is probably a good thing because I forget them all the time. Let's see, where's... He's coming on. It's just this one car right here. I'm not going to have them stop for that. There's no reason to. This engine's got to go back to East Whittier anyway. There comes our chooch. One of the things that I've noticed is that they haven't quite gotten so sophisticated that the chuffs out of the engine are timed. At least I haven't noticed it. Where the chuffs are timed with the piston movement. They're close, but it looks like they are just a little bit off. There we go, right there. Alright, there's 66 more smackaroons. It's almost like Winston Link. There's so many recordings of him on he's on trains, and you can hear, they're moving around in the yard, but you can hear other trains, either mainline trains going by, or you can hear yard engines just shuffling around. And that's sort of what that reminded me of. I know why he's stopping. This switch is not lined right. And I'm just glad I looked, because that switch is not lined right. I love this map mod because it makes it so much easier. They did add these little heart-shaped things right here, and you can still throw them with the map mod in place. The problem is when you get zoomed out, they disappear. And even when you're right there, they're so small, and it's still kind of hard to tell, even because the map is white. So I'm still using my enhanced map. And we'll slow them down to 20. How'd they do on fuel? Almost half. Whoa. Why is he run... I'm glad I looked. Because if he runs out of water, he'll blow up, because I'm running the mod for that, the catastrophic failures. Actually, I'll show it to you. Actually, it's here. There it is. Lego's catastrophic failures. Basically, if you run out of water, your engine goes to 0. So he's going to have to handle it. I don't know why. They were both full on water, or maybe this one didn't get quite full, didn't quite get filled up. But he shouldn't have. I don't know, maybe that's a bug. But they've been using about the same amount of water, so I don't know why that one did it. But how is that a testament to a C-55? It's sitting here pulling a 7,500-ton train by itself. Now, granted, it was moving. If it had to start this one, it would be a different story. But it does sound like it's starting to speed up, so. Alright, let's just make sure. Yeah, that's weird. That's the first time I've encountered that. I'm glad I looked, because he would have for sure run out of water. And see, that's another thing. With that engine being MU'd, I didn't get an alert saying that he's running low on water. So that's something else that really needs to be looked at in the future. It can't just be... I don't know why that wasn't... Maybe because... I thought it was also weird that when I had it selected, it was showing me this one instead of that. I don't know. I'm sure it's an MU bug. Anyway. Glad I looked. He wouldn't have made it. So he's already used a couple 100 gallons of water. This game does not like long trains. So some of this is coal. There's a good bit of copper in here too. I think they're probably up towards the front. There's the copper. So there's some copper ore there, and I know there's some more up here towards the front too. But yeah, it does not like these long trains. And I can't remember how many cars this fits. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slow him down to 10, and I'm going to do away with the fusee. And he's lined out, and we're just going to go until Let me make sure this. Okay, there's nothing else back here. Gonna let him go until we get the end of this train into the yard, which is about right here. It's gonna take a while. This is gonna be. This is probably gonna be 3 or 4 services. It's gonna be serviced all night. It'll be every 2 hours for sure. Let's see, I think which notebook that is. Let me look. I think that siding holds 20 some cars. Whittier holds 2821. And there's 95, so yeah, it'll be at least 3, depending on how many cars we got coming in. So it's gonna be a lot of work tonight. And I've got to get these engines fueled up. Man, it's still coming. So while I'm waiting on that, these are the chip cars, these long gons. These are the ones that are left over. There's one right there too. I think that's one of them. But the sawmill does not load chips nearly as fast as it used to. This one's actually loaded, so I can swap it out. We'll do that in a minute. Let's see, this one, yeah, these 3. I can squeeze one more. I can only get 3. When the mod was active, I think it came to like right here somewhere. And it's still going. So we'll have to put what we can here, and then we'll have to put the rest over here, and then the rest of it's got to go into the yard. Those log cars are got to go into the yard anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But this is going to be a pretty big payday, because this is like, yeah, $92 for each one of these cars, and this is going to be several thousand. Which is good. We should break 10,000 today, or be very close to it. Let's see how many I can get in here before the daily report goes through. Alright, slow down to 5. Now slow down to 0. By the time he stops, that should all be spotted. We gave up about a half a car, but that's alright. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Alright, we're gonna... There's 18. There's 779, so how much was that? How much was that total? 2,600 off of that cut. We're gonna disconnect. And I want you to pull forward. I'm doing it like this because it's just easier. He doesn't go through the whole rigmarole. Let's see, I think this one was set. Yeah, it is. So what did I say, 2,800, 2,600? And then there's probably another 2,600. Yeah, there's 2,600 here sitting easy. So this will be $5,000. This will be a $5,000 haul. If I was really slick, I could sit down and I could tell you, I could do an average and figure up exactly how much train. If I wanted to go OCD on this and run it like an actual business, I could sit down and I could tell you exactly how much revenue I was going to make per train, minus the whole deal with labor, paying the AI engineers. Um, I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but this should be somewhere around a $7,000 train. Actually, might be closer to 8 because there's 12 logs on each one of these, and I'm trying to remember how much the sawmill. I really need to sit down and make a spreadsheet that says how much I get paid per log. I had this broken down before. I honestly can't remember. It would have been. It's in the. It used to give me a breakdown. It would. I think it's whenever when midnight rolls over, I get paid so much for however many logs it was. I want to say 55 sticks out in my head. I could be wrong. All right. So while we're waiting on him, I guess I can take this one over because he's going to go until he runs up against that guy. So we'll just go over here and we'll get these cars swapped out. It won't take but a second. None of the... Well, one car's ready. I'm more worried about the chip cars right now. Because that's the one that's dinging me. How much have we got here? We got plenty. Those engines are going to have to come over here and do the whole thing. Looks like he's rolling pretty good now. He'll go until he stops, and then it's no big deal from there. This is one of the nice things about this map is that I can do that right there, and I can actually watch how fast he's going. Alright, we got one car here that needs to be swapped, and then one over there. That was a hard one. Yeah, we'll be alright. It's empty. Alright, second car in line. No, second car back here. We want this car. So we can break it right there. That. Back her on up. Wish I had a zoom thing. Couple him. All right, stoop. I don't know. Every time I go through this switch, I do the same thing. I look at the wrong switch. 1371, and he's going to be able to fit 5 more cars in there. I think. He can fit at least, yeah, he can fit 4 more in there. Easy. Not quite fast enough. did he get coupled? He's very, very slowly moving. Yeah. So if we can get 4 more cars in there, that's another $400. And the thing about this little siding right here is we basically have to crowd it. I mean, we got to shove them all the way up against the backstop to get them to register. The nice thing about it is I think they did change it where only the knuckle has to be in the zone. But this one's going to clear by a while. There we go. And that'll be Yahtzee, and we can disconnect from this one since that brake's already set. Go grab our other one and wait. He's still going. He's trying to maintain speeds, what it is. That's why he's going so slow. Right, we need to pick up this one. Up, just barely. Forget how much these cars are. 67, so. All right. Get that one. And actually, we need to set this one because that one's the one that was set. Disconnect, back her up, and away we go. It's almost there. We'll just couple this one and leave it here. So that way we've got room in the yard because I'm going to have to sort these cars out. Alright, 256. Is that the only one? Looks like it. So we got 3 more cars in there. We got 40 minutes. And I saw that our new daily report is available. We'll look at that in just a second. We want to make a cut right here. We're going to cut that, and then we need to go up here and grab you. And I'm going to take over you. All right, manual, release. Make sure you still got water. You got plenty. I think we'll just go down the first track here. There's no reason to run this out any longer than it needs to be. Alright, so while that's going on, we can look at our daily report. Man, we only made, well, I guess, yeah, this is the first delivery. This isn't counting the log cars. Well, no, we made more than that. I guess that might not have counted on today. It's saying 2,900 for the day, and that's not right. Oh, there we go. That's okay. I was looking at that wrong. I was looking at this number, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's the number minus the equipment that we bought. We actually made 15,000 in freight, which is redonkulous. And we still got more. There's probably 2,000 more on this train, not counting. It still doesn't count what's at the sawmill now. So 15,000 a day. That's the best day I think that we've ever made. I'd have to go back and look. One thing that I wish that they would do is be able to go back through your history and see what your daily reports are. Because like right now, I can't go back and compare. It would be nice just to have an arrow to go back and forth through the days to see where we were. We actually did a pretty good day on passenger fare, 4,400 or 2,200. I don't know why I doubled that. Speaking of passengers, this train can be released. Let me make sure these are, I don't know, I keep hitting control on that. Okay, he's ready to go. So let's go ahead and send him on his way. Everything should be lined for him to go to. Yeah, he's lined. Okay. Okay, I don't need to follow you. Alright, everything should be passed. So we'll get these cars squared away. And he should make sure he's going to drive through Whittier. He doesn't need to stop. He's not going to. Okay, good. He's already loaded Whittier. That's why I was curious if he's going to stop. So he's good to go. He's going to go on up and make us some more money because we're at peak passenger capacity. And I forget how much that train can actually hold. I want to say it's, let's see, the first car is 64, 60, and then 84 in the rest. Yeah, so 84, I think it's like 400 or something like that. I think the railroad is far more profitable now than it was when I had Silva, but it's a lot busier than it was when I was with Silva, when I was running Silva, and I can only imagine what it's going to be whenever I open Silva up, because I'm going to have so much stuff going on everywhere. But I think I've got it relatively streamlined right now. If I could make this interchange bigger, that would be a tremendous help. But we'll deal with what we got. Alright, let's see here. I saw where Railroads Online updated, and I actually uninstalled it because the last time I tried to play it, I think it crashed on me like 4 or 5 times just from like graphical errors. It had nothing to do with anything else. It was just the game was lagging so bad, it just kept on getting worse, and then it finally just crashed. And I was like, this is terrible. This game's been out for like, it had been out for that long, and I was like, man, they still have not gotten this figured out. It's got a new team, which, to be fair, I don't know that the original team was the most tech savvy. I don't know any of them personally. I don't know much about them either. But it seems like they had a good intention, but they were going about it in a very non-efficient way. So I don't know if that's what led to a lot of the development hell. I know there was some drama behind the scenes as far as stuff going on, and things got personal, and I don't even know all the details, but like I said, last time I tried to play it, this is after that team has had it for like a year or so, and I was like, this is almost as bad as KSP2 in terms of how bad it plays. Which, speaking of, KSP2's future is in doubt now because Take Two is going to sell off Private Division, which is going to include the KSP2 development team. I had hopes that Take Two taking over Private Division was going to be more of a help than a hindrance, but given all the news around it, it's very clear that the whole reason that Take Two bought them was they wanted to cash in on the IP, and it got ruined. And it's as simple as that. My hope is that once it sells off, which I think is supposed to sell off at the end of June, if it was either the 1st of June or the end of June, my hope is that some of the guys from Squad who worked on the original KSP1 will be able to step in if Squad doesn't buy it. If Squad is even around, I don't even know if what's left of that company because I know most of their guys left. If somehow or another Squad is able to end up with it and they can actually save the game, it's I'm trying to think of his name. Shadow Zone made a really good video where he went through everything, and because he had talked to some people that were involved with it, and basically the developers were trying to tell Take Two that they needed to do a complete recode, and what Take Two was telling them was, no, you can't do that because that's going to cost too much money. And they basically said, all this stuff that we originally promised we're not going to do because it's going to cost too much money, and we're going to set a hard date for release, which meant they had to go in there with a machete and cut out all this stuff, including the multiplayer. So if you want to know who killed KSP2, I know a lot of people want to look at Nate Simpson and say it's his fault. It's his fault in that he got in over his head and he micromanaged a lot, and he kind of got himself in the position of the guy that was the creator of No Man's Sky and kind of oversold it. He was a little bit beyond his depth, and he focused on things that really didn't matter. Like, he was more concerned with the way the game looked as opposed to the way the game played, because that was his background. He was more interested in the art aspect of it than anything else, which I think he had a degree in art or something like that. So he got obsessed with that, and to the detriment of the game. And then when Take Two came in, they pretty much said, you know, we're in this to make money. We're going to pare it down. If you think of a more recent game, Skull and Bones, released by Ubisoft. Ubisoft was kind of forced into that one, but they were trying to do it as a cash grab. And Ubisoft had no intention of making that game. They would have shelved it if they had to. Instead, they released this half-baked thing, and then their CEO I think it was an earnings call, he said that, oh yeah, this is a quadruple A game, because he was trying to calm down the investors. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, this is a guy that knows this is a dumpster fire, and he's trying to tell the people not to take their money out of the project or to sell off their stock. Try not to panic the market. And that's when I knew. I was like, yeah, they have screwed this game up. I played it when it was... They did what... they did similar to what DTG did when Train Sim World released, except DTG you had to pay to get in. If you got the super exclusive executive to the stars pack, you got early access to the beta, and essentially all it was like a press review. I mean, it was an early press pass to play it. That's how I got it early. Well, Ubisoft with Skull and Bones did the same thing. They went in, they gave you, I think it was a week, it was either a week or 2 weeks, to play it for free, and then they were going to reset everything. And I played it, and I was like, this sucks. I think after a day, just a few hours playing it, I was like, this sucks. I was like, how do you take Assassin's Creed 4? How do you take Black Flag and turn it into this pile of garbage? You gutted everything. Like he was saying, you needed to go and collect wood, and it was like, okay, do I get off my ship? No, you pull up to these places, and then there's a little quick time event where you harvest wood. And I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? You took Black Flag, boiled it down to this thing where you never leave your ship. And I remember back whenever they first came up with the advertisements for it, it was going to be more like, it always seemed like it was going to be more like arena style ship combat, which it kind of is, but it was like they showed stuff that you did. I don't know. It was just weird how they presented it. And it's like half the stuff that they showed that they were going to have in it's not in it. So it's like, this sucks. And then they wanted like $60 on top of it for that. And I was like, no. And now it's discounted. It's like 50% off. And they're having all these free play events. And like the sales were up the very first day, and God knows how many refunds they got because that game is just terrible. Which, if you like the game, hey, more power to you. I tried to play it, tried to like it, and I was like, no, I'm not spending my money on this thing. This is bad. This is not what a good game is supposed to be. Which I've also played Star Citizen here lately because it's gotten some major updates, and the biggest problem that game has right now is, and I'm going to say this and get off my soapbox on it because I don't, it's a rabbit hole you can go down and just keep on going and going and going and going. The problem with that game is they tried to go too far too fast. If you play it right now, it gets boring after, like, I've tried to play it for a couple days in a row, and I was like, the contract system's bugged because the servers are lagged out. So you try and take a contract, it takes forever for it to accept. You get to the location to do the contract, whether it's a bunker, whether you've got to do a salvage mission or whatever, it doesn't load in because the servers are lagged. And ever since they put this replication layer in, they've gotten away from the 30K crashes, but your server can still crash, and it'll put up the, what is it, server loading, please wait, whatever. So you sit there and you wait for a minute. Well, if you had a mission going, or if you were in the middle of a mission when it happened, the mission resets. So that's gone. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm trying to do these bunker missions. They don't half spawn most of the time, or I'll go to a location and then nothing spawns, or the NPCs are so terrible because they're still jumping around because their pathfinding is still terrible. And then every time somebody brings it up to CIG and they're like, server meshing, we need server meshing, we need server meshing. And I'm like, I'm going to laugh when they finally get done with server meshing and it still hasn't fixed all the BS that they haven't fixed in 10 years. That's what I'm going to do. I hope that I'm wrong and they get it right, but my God, 10 years and they can't get basic NPC pathfinding down when that's been a thing. How long has World of Warcraft been a game? 10, 15 years? Now, granted, is it as in depth as Star Citizen? No, but I'm like, they made their own this is their problem of their doing. But even then, it's like I'll watch YouTubers like Salty Mike, and he talks about progression. There's no progression in the game, and people give him shit about it. And they're like, "What do you mean there's no progression? You can progress." And it's like, no, you can't. You can progress from doing a mission that pays. You can progress from doing mission A that pays you, let's say, 10,000 UEC, to the same mission, just a little different enough to call it different. That's going to pay you 50,000 UEC, and they're calling that progression. There's nothing else to do. So, like I said, I've tried to play it a couple days, and it's like boring as hell. I bought a whole C in game like a month or so ago before the economy wipe, and then the whole C is broken. Like the loading zones weren't working. You can't summon it from a station because the docking ports are broke. Then you can't. So it's like you can't do anything with it. So it's like, why did you put it into the game? And then what's the other one? There was something. Oh, just the stuff with salvage. They completely did the reclaimer and everything. Then they screwed up the economy with that, where you could do a hammerhead mission and you'd make like 2 million off of construction material or RMC, and then they wiped the economy because, well, everybody got rich off of doing that. And then what happened? Now there's a duplication bug and everybody got rich off of that. And it's like, give me a break, guys. I mean, I know you can't catch everything in testing, but the duplication bug was known when it was in the test universe. I mean, I've heard several people say that was reported during the PTU and they didn't catch it. And I was like, what do you guys do? And then the cargo update that's getting ready to happen is apparently it has the potential to break the entire game. So it's gonna be fun whenever they make the new update. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. There's no new games that are coming out that really excite me. Everybody's talking about GTA 6, and I'm like, I'm beyond that. I'll have to build another computer before I get GTA 6. So I'm just trying to think. I know that the new Microsoft Flight Simulator is supposed to come out later this year. Pretty sure it's this year. Actually, while we're sitting here waiting for fuel, I'm actually going to look at my wish list and just see if there's anything coming up. I don't think there is. Star Trucker is one of them. Ultimate General American Revolution came out today and released at $50 in early access. I was like, yeah, we're going to pass on that one. Let's see what else is coming out. There is another train game coming. Pirate Commander, which I don't know if that's ever going to get done. And there's a U-boat mechanic simulator coming out. Railroad Corporation 2 is supposed to come out this year. And Railway Empire 2 just came out, and it's apparently a pretty good game. I don't know if I'm going to play that. I didn't like the first one. I think that's it. That's it as far as railroad games that I can find. Then, of course, you got this one. There is another railroad game that's coming out that I'm not going to be playing. I've already talked about that one. I'm not going to be playing because you can say I'm being petty about it or whatever, but it just, the way things went down kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it's like, well, if that's how they're going to be, I really don't want to have anything to do with them. All right, there we go. So, I think I've rambled on long enough. It's almost an hour and a half. I figured I'd do a long video since it's been a while. So you can see not a lot going on, but a lot of money being made. What did we say? 15,000 yesterday. And then just the amount of money that we brought in, 3,000, almost 4,000 right there at the end. Not counting the money we're going to get from the interchange tonight. Which, how much did we get yesterday? I never did look. Yeah, we got 4,000 from the sawmill yesterday, so we'll probably get that again tonight, which would make today more or less $20,000. So pretty good day for the railroad. And what was the starting balance this morning? We started at 16, we're up to 35, so I'll take it. That being said, that's enough for me, and I will see you next time on the railroad.